Hey, we are ready to work on Word 3 Project 1, the Northern Oregon University Foundation. So to do that, the first thing we're going to do is come down to our module that we're working in and find that assignment. So here we are. We've got our instructions. I've already got those downloaded. So now I need to download the starter prop file. Select that. Open it up. And the first thing we need to do is save it, putting our last name in it. So I'm going to enable editing here. And I'm going to go here to File and do Save As. I'm going to put this on my desktop so I can find it later. And add my last name. Okay, so here in our project step 1, you always want to make sure you read through the assignment, the steps. It tells us on page 1, rotate the picture of the foundation's logo to orient the text horizontally. So here we've got our picture here, and we want our text to be across the bottom, horizontally, think horizon. So when you're working with graphics, what you need to remember to do is make sure you have the graphics selected. If you don't have it selected, you don't have the sizing handles around it here, you're not going to have access to this Picture Tools formatting bar. So if you don't see that bar up here, see it's gone, it's because you didn't have the graphics selected. So what we want to do is we want to rotate this picture so that the text is at the bottom. So we're going to come up to the Picture Tools, we're going to go to Format, and right over here we have Rotate, and we're just going to move it around. What I did was I just clicked the rotate right 90%. And yours might need to do something different, but that's what works for me. So now you can see my text is here at the bottom. The next thing we want to do is we want to change the position of our picture. And so right up here we have position, and this is a cool little option that we can do. If you've got a picture and maybe you're wanting to put it in the center of your page, you can just go to this position and you can move it around. Where we want it at for our assignment here is in the top left with a square left text format wrapping. And you can see, so now our text is right here to the left of our picture. And our text is at the bottom of our picture instead of at the side. So right here it says insert bullet. We want to get rid of this text here. Went the wrong way. Always get backspace and delete confused. Backspace is going to move your insertion point to the left. Delete is going to delete the information that's to the right. So I'm going to delete all that. I went one too far. And now I want to put a bullet right in here. So I'm going to come up here to the Insert tab. And it's not the bullet list. We're going to clear over here to Symbol. And we want this bullet. And if you don't see this bullet in your box right here, you're going to come down here to More Symbols. And here in this box, the font, you're going to go down to Symbol and make it Symbol, and it's number 183 in this symbol character. So then you're just going to find that solid filled dot and hit Insert and then Close. And so now I've got my little dot in here. Now if you don't have these markings on your showing on your paper, that means you don't have your Show Hide button turned on. So you're just going to go to the Home tab. And right here is our Show Hide, and it's just showing our formatting marks so you can see where you have your insertion point and where you have entered the enter key, hit the space bar, and all of that stuff that goes along in the background of your document. So we've got our bullet. Now we're going to add a dotted bottom border to our address line. So this is our address line right here. And we want to add a bottom border. So I'm going to come up here to our borders. And because we want to be specific, we want to change it. We're going to go to the borders and shading. We want the dotted, which is the second one down here on our list. We want to change our color to green accent 1. That's teal. There's green accent 1. And we're going to change the width to 1.5 point. Then over here in this screen, we just want to make sure that the only dots are at the bottom. And we'll make sure it's paragraph. Then we're going to say OK. So now that I've done a little bit, I'm going to come up here and I'm going to hit save so I can save what I've been doing. So that's everything that we're doing on page 1. We're just made our little header up here. So now we're going to come down here to page 2 and we're going to use our format painter. Now the format painter is a really cool tool. If you have some text that you've already formatted and changed the color, messed around with it, you can use the format painter to do that same formatting someplace else in your document. So we like this formatting on the Make a Gift, Change a Life. So we're going to select that text and then we're going to come up here in our home tab and we've got this little format painter. It's got a little paintbrush and we're going to select that. And when we move our mouse back over in our text, you see now we have a little paintbrush on it. And we want to use that same text and put that on the Northern Oregon University Foundation. So we're just going to highlight that part. You see now we've got our same text, same formatting on our text, and that is using that format painter. So now we're going to mess with our picture. We want to change the brightness on our picture. And again, we need to use the picture tool. So you have to select the picture. So we're going to come up here to the picture tools and format. And we're going to come down here to corrections. And we want the brightness. We're going to find the brightness 20% contrast and 20% correction. So plus 20 and plus 20. Select that. It just brightens up our picture a little bit. And then we're going to resize this picture to the 5 inches width. So we're going to come over here to the width, change that to 5.0 and enter. And we've got our picture reformatted and resized. The next thing we want to do is add some alt text. Alt text is for those people who have visual problems and they have a screen reader that reads them what they see on the page. And over here on the alt text, we want to describe what our picture is. This is a really up and coming thing for graphic artists and for any time you do something on the internet, when you're doing your papers, your news articles and stuff like that, you have to have alt text on your picture. So our alt text on this is going to be group of 5 students walking on campus. So what you do is you just describe the picture in as few words as possible. Then we can just close this box and it's there. It's just in the background. It's not something you're going to see in your document. So don't look for it in your document. It's going to be in the background. Underneath our picture, we have a paragraph that has all sorts of formatting. This thank you, it's formatted. We've got a bunch of text that's bolded. We want to get rid of all that. We want no special formatting in this paragraph. So we're going to select the paragraph, then right up here in our text or in our font grouping, Over here we have an A with a little eraser. This is just going to clear the formatting, and it's going to leave our unformatted text. And so with one click of the button, we've gotten rid of all that formatting. Go ahead and save your document. And we're ready to move on to number 7. Number 7, this is where we start messing with SmartArt. So, and under the insert tab, you see the SmartArt. SmartArt just lets you visually communicate information to your reader. It's a really neat way to make like a list of information or a process and put it in graphical formatting. Just makes it more interesting for your reader. So the first thing we need to do, though, before we do that, is we want to make sure our insertion point's in the right spot, because it's going to put your SmartArt wherever your insertion point is. And you can see my insertion point is right here after giving opportunities. That's not where I want it. We want to go to the blank paragraph after the paragraph in the previous fiscal year, so right here, and we can see we have this blank paragraph. Now I can see that right away because I have my formatting marks turned on. If you don't see those little signs, turn on your formatting marks. Now we're going to come up here to SmartArt, and you can see there's all sorts of SmartArts we can choose from. And once you get into the different areas, they're not even in alphabetical order, so sometimes you have to literally go one by one to find the SmartArt that you want. We want the linear Venn SmartArt, and I think if I remember correctly, that's in the relationship. Come down here to the bottom, yes, and there is our linear Venn. As you move your mouse over the SmartArt, it tells you what it is. When you have some free time, take a look at some of the SmartArt. It's really cool. So we're going to click on that. I'm going to say OK. You might have a little box that pops up to the side where you can enter text in information, and that's fine. Or you might just have the SmartArt here with text, and that's fine too. Just need to click on the SmartArt, and we're going to enter our text. And as you type in your text, you'll notice that it automatically changes your font size to fit your information in, and all of your fonts in each of your boxes or circles here, in this case, is going to change. Watch as I type in foundations. See, they all got just a little bit smaller. So that way they're all the same font type and size. So you have some continuity in your SmartArt. Once we have all of this, or your text entered, you can see I have a box here around the foundations, and I also have this larger box. Now I want to resize my SmartArt. If I was to resize right now, it would only resize this section. So I want to make sure I come up here and click on the bigger picture or the bigger box. Now I have my SmartArt, the entire SmartArt. So whatever I do now is going to happen and affect the entire SmartArt picture. In this case, I want to change the size. So I'm going to come over here to Format in my SmartArt tools. I've got my size, and I want to change the height to 2.3. And when I do that, oh my gosh, where did it go on my page? It moved it up to the bottom of my second page because we resized it. Another thing we want to do is we want to change the colors. So up here on our SmartArt tools, we've just messed with the formatting. Now we want to mess with the design. We're going to change the colors to transparent gradient, accent 1. So here's accent 1. And we're going to just move our mouse over until we see the transparent gradient range, accent 1. Select that color. And we want to change the SmartArt style to intense effect. So we're going to come up here, and as you move your mouse over the different options, the name of that option will pop up for you. So we've got our intense effect, we've changed our color, we've changed our style, and so now we have our SmartArt. I'm going to go ahead and save my project at this point. And now we're ready to go to page 3. So on page 3, you notice right away at the top we have our gift designations. Then there's a tab. That's what this little line right here, this little arrow means that a tab has been entered, 2020. But look at this one down here, managed assets. We've got a tab, but it's got dot leaders. These little dots here are called dot leaders. So we've got our dot leaders between our title and in the year. We want to do the same thing up here under gift designations. We want to change our tab. So we're going to move our insertion point up here after the S in gift designations. Up here on our paragraph grouping on our home tab, we're going to select the little box right there in the corner. And then we're going to come right down here to tabs. Now there's more than one way to change our tab. This is my preferred method. But the textbook, I think, gives you another method, and if you do some searching, there's, again, more than one way. Here's our tab stop position. We want our tab stop put at 5.25, so I'm going to enter 5.25. We want it to be a right aligned. So down here under our alignment, we have left, center, and right. And what this means is when we hit the tab key, how do you want the text to flow from that point, from the tab stop? Do you want it to go to the left of the tab? Do you want to go from the center out from your tab? Or do you want it to go to the right from the tab? And for this particular assignment, we want our right aligned. And then down here is our leaders. And this is where we can put our dots in. And usually it's none, but we want leaders. So we're going to put 2. These are the little dots down at the bottom of the line. Then we're going to say set. You have to set that tab stop and then set OK and watch what happens. So now we've got aligned and we've got our right tab stop. You can't just hit dot, 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 dot and do it, okay? You've got to use the tab. And I know you've done the tab. The program knows you've done the tab because you can see right here we have that little arrow, okay? That designates that somebody's hit the tab key. Now we're going to save this again. And we got our table here under gift designations. And we want to change it. We want it to look like this one. Again, we could use the format painter, but that wants us to look a little bit more about what we can do with our tables. So with our table selected, we have our table tools up here. Again, if you don't see this table tools, then you just need to click down here in the table in somewhere, and then you're going to have these the table tool tab. And we're going to insert a row at the bottom. So we're going to put our insertion point in the very last row. And up here under our table tools, under layout, we can insert below. And then we're going to put in some information. Facilities. So we're just going to start typing. And then we're going to tab over to the next cell in our table, and it's 15%. So we've added another row, and we've added our information in there. Make sure you spell it correctly. These little marks here that you see, this is because we have our formatting marks turned on. This little mark, this little square, just indicates the end of your cell. So you can see where the end of your cell is in your table. Now we want to change and apply some formatting to it. So we want to change the design of our table tools. And up here's our table styles. So we can see here we've got a lot of different ones to choose from. We want to find our list. Table 3, accent 5, table style. So Might have to drag this down. Here's list. Table 3, accent 5. Just select it. And now we have a style. And they look the same. So go ahead and save your work. And we are ready for step 11. So we want to flip this donate picture. You can see the donate is backwards. We need to flip it around so we can read the text. So once you have that selected, come up here to format, and we've got our flip here, and we just want to flip it horizontally so now you can actually read the donate. And we want to change the text wrapping to square. So right up here we have our wrap text, and that's just we're telling the document how do we want the text to wrap around our document. And we're going to say square. And then we want to recolor the picture to green accent 1. So over here we have our color. And we're going to come down here and find the green accent color 1 light. And now we have that done. Ready for step 12? You can see our bottom we have, this is the SmartArt down here, and where we got some, well, it looks like SmartArt, but it's actually just 3 different text boxes. And we're going to format them in different ways. So we're going to go to the President's Club shape. So we need to select it to make that our active shape. We want to change the shape style to moderate effect gold. So once we have it selected, again, we have a new tab up here. If we don't see that tab, you don't have it selected. We are going to go to the shape effect. Oh, got the wrong one, sorry. We're going to come here to the shape styles. And you can see, as you move your mouse around, you can see what it does in the background. We want to change this to the moderate effect gold accent 6. That's intense. Moderate effect gold accent 6. We're going to apply a shadow offset. So I got I'm back up at my table. Okay, so make sure you keep your shape selected. My mouse is real sensitive. I need to go in and change the sensitivity of my mouse. As I just move it around, sometimes it moves stuff for me. So my drawing tools, I've got my format, I've got my shape effects here. I want to go to the shadow shape effect, and I want to find shadow offset center shape. So there's offset bottom, offset center right here. You see when I do the click and select that, it moves it up in line with my scholarship. Now what we want to do is use the format painter. We like the way this scholarship looks, and we want to apply it to this fellowship. So we're going to come up here and click on the edge of our scholarship shape and come back up here to our home tab, get our format painter, and then we're going to go to the fellowships and click on the edge of that. And you can see everything that was done on the scholarships is now on the fellowships. One click stop. How awesome is that? So now we're ready to save this, and you can see your final document. You have changed the header on page 1. On page 2, you've made some formatting changes and some changes to the picture. You've added a SmartArt. At the top of page 3, it says the gift designations, and you've added your tab. You've added a line to the table and formatted the table. You changed the picture for donate, and you've changed the President's Club and the fellowship's shapes. And you saved your document, and now you're ready to submit it in Blackboard for grading. Have a great week.